Hello everyone, my name is Bob Ankrit. I'm the museum curator and I am the city liaison for the city of Burlington, branch 60, which you can see behind me here. Very shortly you're going to see a gentleman by the name of Douglas Ross Rickard be awarded the Legion of Honor Medal Knights class for his work at Dieppe on August 19th, 1942. But before we do that, I would like to thank all the veterans and their families for what they have done supporting our country over these many, many years. Specifically the families that put a brave face to uncertainty while they waited at home. Also the merchant marine that carried goods and supplies for us across the oceans to keep us going. Finally, the women that stayed at home, but also worked in factories that kept our businesses going and our factories spinning to support the war effort. Now behind me here you can see an artillery piece. This is a 17-pound anti-tank gun, but it's not just an artifact, it's a memorial and a symbol of valor and duty. This artillery piece was handled by a gentleman by the name of Joe Edmonds and his crew. They worked from 1943, the summer, to the summer of 1945 in North Africa, Sicily, Italy, France, and Holland. Truly a courageous group of men, which I'm sure is duplicated over the years. The flag that you can see flying above me here has changed over the years, but the sense of duty, honor, and self-sacrifice of our service people has not changed at all. Very soon you're going to hear some bagpipes. Those bagpipes are being played by Jeff Swans. What I'd like you to do when you listen to that is listen for the sounds of the past, calling us to remind us that our nation has faced many, many different crises over the last 100 years. We're in another one now. I think those voices are telling us to stand fast, work together, and we will all get through this like generations of Canadians have done for many, many years. Ladies and gentlemen, the pipes.
advance to the right, turn. Color party, deposit. Colors. Color party will advance to the left, turn. Color party will wheel and retire by the center, quick, march.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Bob Ankrit. I'm the museum curator and the liaison for the city of Burlington. And it's going to be quite an afternoon. Thank you and hello to all those people at home. I'm sure you realize we're under COVID constrictions and you are our audience out there. Thank you for tuning in. You're in for quite a time. At this point, I'd like to introduce Burns McLeod, who is our president for the Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 60. Burns, if you wouldn't mind.
Good afternoon. It is a genuine pleasure to welcome you to Branch 60 of the Royal Canadian Legion here in Burlington for this important ceremony. One of our most respected veterans, Mr. Douglas Rickard, who is also a Legion member at this branch, will today be invested with the highest national order that the government of France can bestow, the Legion of Honor. During the ceremony, we will also hear briefly from several others with messages both honoring Doug and his part in the 1942 Dieppe raid, and some comments regarding the anniversary today of the Allied landings on this date in 1944 in Normandy, France, also known as D-Day. It is now my pleasant duty to reintroduce the Master of Ceremonies for this event, Mr. Bob Ankrit. Thank you.
Thanks, Burns. To move us forward through this process this afternoon, looking at the different events that Burns has alluded to, I would like to introduce Don Cranston, who is the Honorary Colonel for the Royal Hamilton Light Infantry, Wentworth Regiment. Don.
Thank you, Bob. Good afternoon. On August 19, 1942, the Canadian Army and my regiment, the Royal Hamilton Light Infantry, Wentworth Regiment, suffered their darkest day. The Dieppe raid was a costly endeavor. Of the 6,050 infantrymen to storm the beach that day, 3,623 were killed in action, wounded, or taken prisoner. The RHLI sent 582 into battle, and 197 died, and just under 300 taken prisoner. The Dieppe raid's objective was to capture and hold the seaport and to gather intelligence on German defenses. The element of surprise was lost during the evening when the naval force ran into a German convoy. There was insufficient air cover for the raiders, and the accompanying tanks bogged down in the Chert Beach. After less than 6 hours, the staggering casualties forced shutdown of the operation. The butcher's bill was massive, but there were lessons learned that day which were essential to ensure success on D-Day 2 years later and exactly 77 years ago today. The raid's failure proved that a fully integrated plan involving the Navy, Air Force, and Army was critical. Surprise was also paramount, and hence the highly secretive planning and diversional tactics used in the D-Day preparation. The raid also proved that a large-scale invasion of a fortified seaport was too risky, and hence the Allied landings on the relatively sparse beaches in Normandy in 1944. The raid also demonstrated that infantry alone could not assault and hold positions. Armor and artillery support would be required to repel German counterattacks once a foothold was established in Normandy. The Dieppe raid was also significant for psychological reasons. It signaled to the Russians, who were suffering massive losses of men and equipment on the Eastern Front that Britain, Canada, and the United States were preparing to establish a second front. This threat would divert German resources toward the west and relieve pressure on the Russians. The raid also rekindled a sense of hope among the French. After 2 years of oppressive occupation, the Canadian presence on the beach of Dieppe signified to the French citizens that they had not been forgotten and that the Allies would continue to fight to restore their freedom. Following the raid, the renewed and re-energized activity of the French resistance would also be significant in 1944 as the Allies began their push to defeat Germany. The Dieppe raid was a failure due to poor reconnaissance work, poor resources, and poor execution. But these men did not die and fight in vain on that fateful day. Their struggle ensured their brother soldiers succeeded on D-Day in 1944. So to Doug Rickard and his comrades of 1942, the world is eternally grateful for their sacrifice, ensuring the ultimate victory. These men fought to try to make the world a better place, and we honor them for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Don, for putting a lot of history into a very short period of time very well. Thanks again. It's my job to do something very similar, and I'm going to try and do just that. Modern history, there have been many major events that have shaped our world, and we're living through one of them now with COVID. Most people that study history agree that the event that most impacted our world occurred on June 6th, 1944. And those of you who are not historians, that's D-Day, the invasion of Normandy. On that day, the combined forces of Britain, Canada, and the United States landed on the coast of Normandy, and I think you pretty well know the rest. The failure, and it could have been a failure, the failure of such a landing was almost too horrific to even imagine. The Nazi regime had taken control of most of Europe and continued a rule of law based on anti-Semitism and racism. The proof of which became most evident as the Allies moved further east and uncovered atrocities on a grand scale that seem impossible in this modern world. To have lost the war to Nazi Germany would have changed the civilized world easily. Millions of free men, women, children, and future generations were at risk, and very, very real risk. Most of these service men and women, like Doug and others, volunteered for that duty at a very, very young age. Some gave all gave some. I think some of you that are vets will remember that quote. This is why we thank them all. Doug Rickard, he arrived in Dieppe in the early morning of August 19th, 1942, aboard a tank landing craft, which historians call TLCs. They contained 3 tanks, armored. His station was in the stern of that TLC with an officer in an armored cabin. His job was to act as a signaler, relaying messages from 3 other signalers that landed with the South Saskatchewan Regiment, Essex Scottish, and the Royal Hamilton Light Infantry, which you've just heard the Honorary Commander, Don Cranston, speak about. Doug was knocked unconscious by a shell blast, but was revived by an officer as he continued to receive and transmit messages until further damage to the vessel damaged one of the rear engines. And I guess it was time to leave, as they tried to. With only one propeller working, they worked slowly away from the coast, thinking that would be their last moment. They were set upon by enemy fighters just off the coast of England, and to avoid injury, Corporal Ricard jumped overboard. He had to. It was either that or be shot. He was able to remove his heavy boots in the Atlantic, in the cold, in swells, which took him a little while, I think 10 minutes, if I remember correctly, and then swam over a kilometer back to the English coast and to safety. The Dieppe raid was a training day for D-Day, as we all have heard. Without Dieppe, perhaps D-Day would have ended quite differently. We should thank people like Doug Rickard, born June 25th, 1918, in Toronto. Yeah, do the math, 1918. Corporal, Royal Canadian Corps of Signalers, L Section, 6th Brigade, 2nd Division, is now been awarded the 1935 to 45 Defense Medal, the War Medal with Dieppe Bar, and now the French Legion of Honor Medal. Knight's class, Chevalier. I should also mention he's a member of the Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 60. People like Doug Rickard and his wife, Jean, not only fought for our country and our freedom, but also did something much, much more. After that, they came home and didn't rest. They built this country up to the nation and the envy of most other worldly citizens. Those are the people, Doug and his wife, we should be thankful to. And that's why you and I thank him. And on behalf of a grateful nation, Doug, thank you very much. At this point in time, I think we should get on with it, why we're here. I'd like to introduce Colonel Roger Vandomme, Deputy Defence Attache with the French Embassy in Canada. Colonel.
Thank you very much, Bob. Ladies and gentlemen, Doug, good afternoon and welcome to this honor and award ceremony. I will provide a brief overview about the Legion of Honor and the ceremony as well. We are gathered today to celebrate, honor, and award the Legion of Honor Medal, the highest national order in France, to a Canadian World War II veteran for his distinguished service to freedom and to France. The Légion d'honneur, or in full, the National Order of the Legion of Honor, so l'Ordre National de la Légion d'honneur, is a French order established by Napoleon Bonaparte on the 19th of May, 1802. The Legion of Honor is regulated by the Code of the Legion of Honor and of the Military Medal. The President of the French Republic is the Grand Master of the Order, and the day-to-day running is entrusted to the Grand Chancery. The Grand Master appoints all of the members of the Order on the advice of the government. The Grand Master's insignia is the grand color of the Legion, worn only by the President of the Republic as a Grand Master of the Order. The Order is divided in 5 degrees: Chevalier, Knight, Officer, Officier, Commandeur, Commander, Grand Officier, Grand Officer, and Grand Croix, the Grand Cross. The military distinctions, the Légion d'honneur à titre militaire, are awarded for bravery in war and action. The badge of the Legion is an enameled white, silver 5-armed Maltese cross with an enameled laurel and oak wreath between the arms. The ribbon for the medal is plain red. It has been designed by Napoleon himself. You will see it's a beautiful medal. Napoleon had a good taste. Today, Mr. Doug Rickard is to be awarded the Legion of Honor at the rank of Chevalier, Knight. We will proceed to the ceremony as follows. I will stand here. Mr. Rickard is going to approach me and stand in front of me. I will recite in French the official decree, which can be translated in English as In the name of the President of the Republic and under the authority that has been granted to me, we confer on you, in the degree of Knight, the National Order of the Legion of Honor. Then I will place the medal on the left breast of the recipient, and I will then perform the accolade. The accolade is the actual symbol of knighting, which is replacing the sword in the modern time. Obviously, given the COVID circumstances, I will keep my distance and will just make the movement of the accolade. I'm not going to be as close as I should to you, even if I would like to, but I'm not going to kiss you. So I guess we can proceed now. Mr. Ricard, if you would love.
Yes, I can go through.
Mr. Ricard, on those dark days of 1942, a group of young Canadians crossed the Atlantic and landed in France to fight and defend our common values. On this sacrifice mission, which lessons were invaluable for the final victory. For what you did and your comrades, the people of France will be forever grateful. That's why, Monsieur Ricard, au nom du président de la République française et en vertu des pouvoirs qui m'ont été conférés, nous vous faisons chevalier de l'Ordre national de la Légion d'honneur.
Thank you.
Félicitations.
No, maintenant.
I think it's yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, je ne parle les France. À ce moment, aujourd'hui, mon cours, c'est en France. And that's all the French I know. In English, I would like to present the or share the honor of this very nice medal with all of those Canadians who either died or were taken prisoner, but and also those who managed to get back to the English shore. I wish to share the honor of this very nice honor with them. I think that is all. Thank you, gentlemen. That it?
Well said. Very well done. Thank you very much.
Scared out of my wits.
I bet he was more afraid now than when that 88 hit the back of that TLC and knocked him unconscious. So, anyway. How do you follow that, eh? Thank you. It is my pleasure now. One of the people who was instrumental in making this occur is a lady by the name of Hu Young Jones Kennedy. She's a veteran advocate for us, and also her husband, retired Major Don Kennedy for the Royal Hamilton Light Infantry. I would like to ask Hu Young to come up now and say a few words. Hu Young?
Thank you very much for the introduction. First of all, we'd like to congratulate Mr. Doug Rickard for his French Legion of Honor Medal. It is an incredible honor for him and great joy for his lovely wife, Jean, and his daughters, Marie and Gail. It is my honor and pleasure to nominate Mr. Rickard for this prestigious medal to my associate, Colonel Roger Vandomme, Deputy Defence Attache of the French Embassy last year. We send our special appreciation to Madame Karine Ricard, Ambassador, and Colonel Roger Vandomme, and the dedicated French Embassy staff for their exceptional help and support. We also like to thank Mr. Bob Ankret and the Royal Canadian Legion Post 60 Burlington and the Color Party for organizing the decoration ceremony despite the COVID-19 pandemic. It is also my honor to present Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's personal congratulatory letter and the 103rd birthday certificate for Mr. Doug Rickard. After the official decoration ceremony, I'll present other letters and certificates from all levels of government and also from our associate, Lieutenant Colonel Lisa Smith, commanding officer of 31 Signal Regiment, to Mr. Ricard. To date, more than 1,200 World War II veterans who fought in France received the French Legion of Honor Medal in Canada. The French government and French people gratitude for Canadian veterans are profound. Merci beaucoup. We salute Mr. Ricard for dedicating his French Legion of Honor Medal to the many brave fallen Canadians at Dieppe raid who gave their tomorrows for our todays. We will remember them and Mr. Doug Rickard, and as our Canadian heroes, nous nous souviendrons. Thank you, merci. And this is Prime Minister's message, June 6, 2021, Mr. Doug Rickard. Dear Mr. Rickard, I'm pleased to extend my warmest congratulations to you as you are awarded the rank of Knight of the French National Order of the Legion of Honor by the Republic of France. This medal reflects France's profound gratitude for your contribution to its liberation during the Second World War. You may take great pride in having received this distinction, the highest national order bestowed in France. Over the course of the Second World War, more than 1 million Canadians and Newfoundlanders participate in the Allied efforts in Europe, a remarkable contribution for our country, which is at the time had a population of only 11 million people. I join with you, the citizens of France, in thanking you for risking your life in the name of freedom and peace. Your courage and sacrifice are inspiration not only to your family, but to all Canadians, and it will not be forgotten. I'm sure you'll wear this insignia with great pride. Please accept my best wishes. Sincerely, Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau. Sir, you deserve that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, Doug. Well done. I'm going to take some personal time. on this. There's a friend of mine who's no longer with us, who his name was Sergeant Jim Warford. And Jim Warford passed away a couple of years ago. And he was at Juno Beach, D-Day +2. And when I asked him when he went back for the reunion there several times, he said he wanted to find the same shell hole and see whether his fingerprints were still embedded in the wall of it. He was that scared, I guess. Anyway, he was the poster boy for us. In other words, and I say that kindly, anything the city needed, he did. Anything the Legion needed, he did. Anything the federal government or provincial government needed in the area of promoting veterans and their families, he did. He was there. Mattered little how he felt, he was there. Just like somebody else in this room, Doug, is. I'm going to read something that was his favorite piece of literature, and it means a lot to me. There is a Shakespearean quote from about 400 years ago, and it's from Henry V, Act 4, Scene 3. And it was like it was written this morning, okay? Nothing has changed. It's about the Feast of Crispian, and you can substitute the words D-Day for that, okay? D-Day or any major battle, but D-Day for today. All right, here we go. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispian shall, excuse me, shall ne'er go by. From this day to the ending of the world, we shall be remembered. We happy few, we band of brothers, for he today who sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Ne'er he so vile, this shall gentle his condition, and gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, while any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's Day. Thank you. And what I'd like to do now is turn this over to our president, Burns McLeod, to close. Burns?
Thank you, Bob. It's now my duty to bring this event to a close. I'd like to congratulate Doug on his prestigious medal award and thank all the other participants for their part in honoring Doug today and their remarks in remembrance of the D-Day anniversary. Thank you very much. I would also like to offer best wishes from the Royal Canadian Legion and indeed from all the citizens of Burlington to Doug on the occasion of his 103rd birthday, which is coming up on Friday, June 25th. Happy birthday, Doug.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday.
In closing, I would ask all who are able to please stand and share in a moment of silence in honor of our fallen comrades. They shall not grow old as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them. Thank you.